What is up, Go Nation? Eddie the Car Guy here, just giving you a quick daily update video. Today is Tuesday, and I wanted to talk to you about what I got. So I got a new toy. It's funny because, you know, as my channel evolves, I get subscribers and people interested in the videos from other things, and I really appreciate the broad spectrum of people that I have. I mean, when my video first started, it was like a weapon review channel, and then it became more about my Ford Fusion, and then, you know, now it's becoming more and more about my Civic, which is pretty cool. I really dig it. What I wanted to talk to you guys today about was what I got and what did I get now, I guess is a good question for you. So the other day, I don't know if you guys know, I came across a 2004 Ford Explorer. It was actually my dad's. He gave it to me when he passed away, and you know what? I had no use for it. The wife has a Durango. I actually have a, Civic. As you know, I got a couple motorcycles. I don't really have a need for a second SUV. The only thing that the Explorer had that the Durango doesn't is the Explorer is actually four-wheel drive. But I live in California, and I don't go to the snow that much, and if I do, I will rent a truck that's four-wheel drive. I don't, necessarily need to have one all the time. Because personally, I think if you have a 4x4 truck that you don't use a lot of the 4x4 in, you're spinning your differential more. I mean, it's just added weight. It's nice to have if you need it, but like I said, the majority of the time you're not. So for what it's worth, that's how come I have a two-wheel drive Durango, at least where I live. But back to, like I said, what did I get? So I went on this quest to find a classic car. Now, what I mean by classic car is here in the state of California, basically what you have to do is you have to find a car that's pre-75 so that you don't have to smog it. So a model year 75 or older. The problem is in California, to find a California car, a car that's been here in California, that's not close to the Bay Area, because everything near the Bay Area is rusted. People charge ridiculous amounts of money for cars that are not registered, not running, just beat to shit. And I mean, let me tell you, I'll give you a good example. This guy, I went to go look at a truck, right? I looked at a 73 short bed, or a 73 long bed Chevy C10, okay? Nothing special. The car was butternut yellow, which means it's like an ugly tan now, and it had a 454 in it. And I went down to the Bay Area to look at it, and I go down and I look at it, and the guy won't even let me drive it. In fact, he won't even let the car idle for like 5 minutes. And there was just all sorts of things wrong with it. It was way back on registration. That's another thing. Most classic cars are way back on registration because people don't drive them. And rather than pay to register them, they just don't pay registration. And then they go back on these fees. And most classic cars that I was looking at, for my price range, had like $1,000 worth of fees on it. Oh, pro tip, if you're in California and you're buying a car and it has back registration, the DMV has a really great website that you can actually go to, and what they do is they will allow you to actually check what the registration is. You can put the VIN and the license plate in the car. They'll tell you what you would owe on registration if you go to put the car in your name. Kudos to DMV on that. That's a really neat thing to do, so you're not trusting the previous owner. So anyways, so I was looking for a car for a long time, and probably a good 3-4 weeks once I sold the Explorer, I couldn't find anything. Now my budget wasn't huge. It wasn't. My budget, the top of my budget, the absolute top of my budget was $3,000. And I know that, when you say, oh, I want a classic car, when you say $3,000, you're like, wow, that's really not a lot of money. But I mean, my expectations weren't too high. Here's what I wanted. I wanted something clean title. I want the pink slip to say clean title on it. I wanted something that currently runs and registered. Runs and is registered is a key important. My wife would not let me tow a car back to the house unless it was registered and it was running. So no matter how ugly it is, as long as it's registered running, we're good to go. And then the third thing that I wanted was a fairly straight body. Not a lot of rust. You know, I don't want floorboard rust. It's just such a pain in the neck to take care of, you know. Plus, I'm not really like a fab guy, so I really don't know what I'm doing when it comes to a lot of that. I'm really learning a lot. So I was looking at all these pre-75 cars, right? I couldn't find anything. I was looking at this truck, the one truck that I found, literally in 3 weeks, I found one. Okay, I also narrowed it down to a truck. And the reason I narrowed it down to a truck is because I like having the utilitarianness of a truck. I have 4 motorcycles, and I don't own a truck. I'm really big into my kids' softball, and I don't own a truck. So I want to be able to like haul dirt if I need to. Plus, trucks are good to have. Also, true story, my second car ever was a 1980 Chevy C10 short bed. I love that thing. That was a cool truck. I met my wife when I was in that truck. It was really cool, and that's a whole story for a whole nother video. So I narrowed it down now. I'm looking for Chevy C10s. That's what I was looking for. And I really couldn't find them that ran and that were registered. Like I said, I found one. I was looking within 200 miles of Northern California. That's the Bay Area, that's Chico, that's Yuba City, Marysville, all around me. Basically, what I found was everything that was in my price range of $3 grand or less. Every single thing had major issues with it. And kind of issues like not registered, or, oh, by the way, the floor is rusted out, or, you know, hey, look, you can't drive it. Something along those lines. So I was cruising through Craigslist one day, and I see this ad, and it goes 1982 Chevy C10 smog exempt, and it had it in parentheses. And now normally I wouldn't even look at that. Like, what I mean by that is when I was filtering pre-75 only. So I see 1982 smog exempt, So I click on it, and turns out that this thing has a diesel in it. So in California, you can kind of get around a smog law a little bit. If you have a model year 97 and older, you don't have to smog any diesel ever, no matter what motor is in it, okay? DMV registers it one time as a diesel, and once it's registered as a diesel, it's always a diesel. So you're never gonna have to, you know, smog it or anything like that. Now, here's the bonus. So the Chevy C10 is basically the same body with a slightly different front end from the year 1973 to the year 1987. So here's my methodology thinking. I'm getting a truck that is at least 7 years newer. So the truck has been on the planet literally 7 years less. So there's 7 years less of you know, beating on the truck and just sitting out in the elements and everything like that. And it has a diesel. Now, I will not lie, diesels scare me. They do. I don't know what the hell I'm doing with a diesel. I really don't. I know they got a glow plug. This particular one I got is non-turbo. It's a V8 6.2 Detroit diesel. I know they shoot black smoke. That's kind of cool. And I know they're known for towing, but it really isn't exactly what I wanted in a truck. But I was able to get it way below my price point. So I actually picked up the truck for $2,300, and the truck ran. It is registered, and I drove it home 80 miles. That's crazy for $2,300. Everything worked. The only thing that doesn't work is the air conditioning on the truck, and it's got the pump. It's got a newer pump on it, but it takes R12, and I don't know anybody. Well, my brother-in-law can probably get R12, but I don't know if there's a leak in the system. Besides, it's not worth my time to invest money in it because I'm never going to use AC in the truck anyways. So now, that's the reveal. 1982 Chevy C10 long bed pickup, Detroit diesel 6.2 liter. Now, the diesel, like I said, is not fast, but neither is a Chevy 350. Like, if you go drive a Chevy 350, because I did, I drove a 73 long bed Chevy 350, and it was so slow. I mean, that motor is like a boat anchor. It is just, it's heavy, it's slow, a stock 350 is not a powerful motor. Now, it's a good platform to build on, don't get me wrong. Plenty of people have done it. But if you buy an old truck that has an old tired 350, you're not getting anything out of it, okay? So I bought this diesel, and one of the cool things about the diesel is that in the 80s, what Chevy did was it was during the gas crunch. You know, you got to remember this is 82. It's right at the tail end of the late 70s gas crunch, and Chevy was developing this motor to get about 20 miles to the gallon. It's not a heavy-duty motor. It's not turboed or anything like that. It's designed for two things: reliability and gas mileage. And the truck, everyone says all day long that truck will get 20 miles to the gallon, which is amazing because it's a big, square-body, long-bed pickup. But it will get 20 miles to the gallon. It's a C10, so it's a half-ton. It's a 1500. And the body is pretty straight. I'm going to do a video with the truck itself. The interior is in decent shape. The gauges, the dash, all that stuff works, which is important for me because that's stuff that can nickel and dime you whenever you're restoring a car. It can just get really expensive. And you have to have, I think, one of the things that's important to me is that you have to have a clear goal of what you want to do with your classic car if you decide to buy a classic car. Because I was all over the place. I mean, at first, and you could ask my friend Robert, I wanted to build a race car. That's what I wanted to do, build a race car. And, you know, I wanted something smog exempt so that I don't gotta, you know, have cats on it and I don't gotta have this and that. And the more and more I got looking into a race car that's cool, but then I'm gonna have to trailer to the track. There's all sorts of issues with it. So then I was like, well, maybe I just want like a rat rod style truck, a truck that I can still use. If I need to, I can haul around my motorcycles, I can throw some dirt in it, but I do want it to be fast if need be. So, buy this diesel truck, and let me tell you what my plans are with it. So the truck was in a front-end accident. I don't know what it hit, maybe a deer or something like that, I have no idea, but the grill was all broken out. It just basically had the stock halogen headlights in it, and then the bumper was all twisted up. So I've ordered a bumper, and the bumper I should be getting pretty soon. It's coming from Florida. I ordered it last week, so I'm hoping that it comes pretty soon. I put a phantom grille on it just to kind of clean it all up, and then I put some LED headlights on the front of it. Now, what are my plans for the truck? That's a great question. And I don't think I want to put any type of money into the motor that's in it. It's cool that it's a diesel, but it's not fast. It's fun to cruise around. It's fun to shoot black smoke. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to save up for an LS swap. That's what I'm going to do. I've looked at cost of LS swaps, and you can get like a 5.3 LS out of like an early 2000 Chevy Tahoe, you know, and you can make those things scream. The best part about all this is the transmission that is in it is a 700R4. GM actually made the same transmission for the diesel that they put on the Chevy 350, so the transmission will bolt all right up. I just got to get a new torque converter. So that's my update on what I actually ended up getting, which is kind of cool. Let me know what you think about the Chevy C10. I am going to post pictures. If you follow my Instagram, that car guy Eddie, you can actually see pictures of the truck, and I'm kind of doing like pictures of the build and everything, so that we can kind of chronologically show what it looks like when I got it from when I go. My goal is to not put too much money into this thing. I really kind of want to do this on the cheap. As you guys know, I am like the cheapest dude ever, and once something starts costing more than I think it's worth, I will stop with that project. So my goal, hopefully here, is to get the truck going. Because I purchased it for so much below what my top budget was, I was able to fix some basic stuff on the truck, which is pretty nice. You know, it needs a front windshield because the front windshield's got a crack. Just little stuff like that. I registered it, put it in my name. That's a rare thing. I don't do that with a lot of cars. So leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think about the truck. Think it's a good idea? Do you think I should do the LS swap? Or do you know anybody, you know, that's got an old truck like that? Or have you possibly thought about restoring an old car? Because I really want to get into it. I think it would be fun. I know it's going to be a little bit of a money pit, but I think it's going to be fun to do. anyways, let me know down in the comments. Like, subscribe the video if you haven't already. And one thing too is, you know, if you click that little bell icon, whenever I post videos or anything like that, you'll get a notification. Thanks again for everybody who views these videos. I really dig it. There is another Civic video coming very, very shortly. I'm actually going to do an LED versus HID comparison because I see that question asked a lot, and unfortunately there's a lot of bad information out there. So have a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys later. Take it easy.